I built an AI SDR inside of Claude, and it booked sales calls with brands worth 60, 70, 80 million dollars plus in annual recurring revenue for clients with companies like L'Oreal's Pearl Pride, Crunche, Tata Cosmetics, and Blue Mercury in just 3 weeks. And here's the most important part. I didn't write a single one of these replies that got them to book a call. It is completely made from Claude Code. And in this video, I'm going to show you the exact steps and how that we took to come to build it end to end. Nothing held back, no gatekeeping at all. This is completely for free. Before getting into that, quick context on what we do. We run go-to-market engineering systems and outbound campaigns for B2B companies, namely marketing agencies, SaaS companies, sports sponsorship brokerage firms, accounting, and fractional CFO firms. The AI SDR that we booked calls for was for one of our sports sponsorship clients. They connect brands with Premier League clubs, La Liga, and Serie A clubs, and we connected them with 4 brands worth 105 million plus in annual recurring revenue, like Tate, Blue Mercury, Zoomoth, Olivier's Furniture, which is based in New Jersey. And all of it came in the first 3 weeks of launching the campaign. And here's the thing, the hardest part of the outbound was never sending the emails. It was rather handling the objections that came back from it. The messages like, send me some more info, we are already using someone, and of course the no-shows. And if we answer those with very slowly, we are losing the deal. So we need to keep minimum response time and maximum efficiency and effectiveness to answer this. So instead of hiring new SDRs and spending $18,000 to $20,000 on the entire team, we built it fully on Claude. And I'm going to show you that step by step. The next part of this video is going to consist of 4 parts. First, we take your messy SOPs scattered across Notion, PDFs, Loom videos, and turn them into clean knowledge base that Claude Cowork can use and convert it into a skill. Then we write the instruction set, the brain of the entire thing called Claude.md that handles every replies and the objections, and we turn it in code. And finally, we ship it as a simple Claude project that your whole team can use in real time without even touching them. Every prompt, the instruction set, the skills, all are free and is in the description. Having said that, let's go and build it.
In my current Claude chatbot. So this is the typical chatbot that I use for Claude. What I'm going to show you is how we can set up a project here for our inbox management when we typically prospect with leads and they have responses, how to deal with those responses, how to follow up with leads, and how to make sure that they are nurtured and qualified within our pipeline. So there are gazillions of ways you can actually train a Claude project. Typically the structure that is contained is shown in here. So it has the memory, it has an instruction. The instruction is basically nothing but like a large prompt which actually lets it know step-by-step workflow on what and how it should access the files inside this project and how it should execute them. Typically you don't need to write any of these yourself. You should be able to build it while speaking with Claude. Typically use a more complicated model like Opus, which can do these kind of ambitious tasks, or you could use Sonnet with extended thinking depending on the type of tasks. For now, just for being safe, I am using the Opus. So my goal, step 1 is to train my Claude project on all the documents, SOPs, and guidelines that I have in my company for around inbox management. Typically everything is on Notion. So this is my Notion doc here, and this contains literally all single things, the bread, butter, the meat and bones, and every single step that we actually do for inbox management. A lot of these things are technical as well, so how to handle the apps and softwares in the backend. We are not going to put that on Claude right now. The Claude project's job is to generate responses and give our team a workflow on the steps that it needs to run before in order to get the job done. So what I'm going to do, as you can see already here, the media inside this SOP is in different format. If you page, it's pretty much nested. Inside those pages there are also more pages. For example, you can see we also have images inside pages. So this is not just one singular form of media. It's divided itself into text, images, videos, and everything. So we already have a very big chaotic mess, I would say, and we need to learn how to organize this, right? The best way that I do here is to just ask Claude. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open my dictation app here, and I'm just going to tell it the following. I have a very big list of SOP documents that I need to train this project for inbox management. I am going to copy the link down in this chat. I need you to go through these documents and give me a strategy on what is the best way I can upload these resources into your project folder. Keep in mind that the resources inside this link have multiple shapes and forms. There are texts, there are images, there are videos, Loom videos as well. Also there are links. So most of these you might not be able to access in one go, but if you can, let me try to understand what you can access and what you can process, and and find a way to organize all these resources inside your project folder. I'm looking to go for the most efficient way to organize documents, so that my team takes minimum time when processing the next tasks, whenever there is a response from a lead, or whenever they are managing my inboxes. They are managing inboxes within the business and for the clients, right? So I'm going to put the link in here, and I'm going to see what it comes up with. It's typically an agent. So as you can see that it has JavaScript, it requires JavaScript to render, so it cannot directly access the link. What I would do in this case, so it's already started to search for Google Drive. But if in case it cannot access those links, what I would do is, as you can see that fetch files. For some it's succeeding, some it's not, and it's going to give me an upload strategy. Pretty cool. Tree, which contains an upload strategy on which I can upload all of this. As you can see, it has already created MD documentation for all of these resources. As we know that MD files are typically the markdown files are typically the easiest readable content for Claude. So most of the times when you see these resources being developed, they are developed in markdown file. This is very important to understand, as a lot of these AI interface and platforms are generally outputting their document format in markdown instead of like fully image heavy or operations heavy PDF format, because it's just easily readable and it is easy to manage. So as you can see, you can just click all of them side by side and let Claude develop it as you sit back. Claude of PDF, it's basically a skill it has. So as you can see that it's also giving a list. So what I can access right now, your Google Drive has the goldmine. I was able to pull the full text from your inbox. So do's and don'ts, whimsical links, completing inbox management scripts. So okay, so the Google Drive can be immediately accessible. What it can't process is the Loom videos. So this is somewhere where we need to do a little bit of heavy lifting, right? But the best approach in this case would be to just copy and paste the summaries. That's what they're saying. The strategy: consolidate everything into 8 structured project files. Instead of dumping dozens of scattered docs, PDFs, project file, I recommend we create 8 clean markdown files that consolidates everything into a single searchable knowledge base. Your team opens this project, asks the questions, gets the right answer. No hunting through Notion subpages, rewatching Looms. So the structure follows an exact workflow your SOP already outlines. sees their reply, qualifies it, understands the response type, craft the right message, handle objections, book call, escalate if needed, track the pipeline. So for the Loom video content, we need to do a bit of heavy lifting, paste the summaries or transcripts and tell me the key points covered in each video, and I'll write the training index. So right now it's already prompting me what I should do and what I should not do for each of these document types. And as you can see, if I create it, it's going to generate everything in here. So all I need to do is to click on these resources, especially starting from the markdown files, and update this inside my Claude project, right? So it has already started to do one thing. Let me check the videos and images. It says that it needs conversion. So Loom videos, there are multiple Loom videos. We need to manually convert them. We need to convert text content, right? But at least what it can do, it can upload the markdown file. So let's start with that. So I can just copy the markdown file, go to the projects folder and start creating them. So add text content, or we could just download it, organize it, right? So if we just go here, go to the markdown file, add to project, it's already added to the project. So what I'll do first, the easiest job is the first thing. I'm going to queue all of these and let it create all of these markdown files. And while it does, I'm going to do the ones that are more difficult to do. Right. So what I'm going to go is I'm going to go to Cowork. I'm going to copy this prompt again because I'm going to let Cowork scrape all the video transcripts. Right, I'm going to start a new task. I'm going to change the project folder to a project that I'm working on. Add, so this is a different project that I was working on. Management here. So I'll just copy this prompt. While extracting the content of this SOP, there are multiple images and Loom videos. What I need you to do is to follow the organization framework that has been added in the last chat and extract all the transcripts of the Loom videos. I don't want you to miss anything because this is going to be used in training the inbox management project, right? So I'm already giving it context on that organization output that it gave, right? Go back to task and go back to this one, framework, because right now it's hanging for me. But let's see what code comes up with. I'm going to put it on Opus, or we could also do Sonnet because it says Opus can use the memory faster, especially for Cowork. This becomes an expensive operation. Connector. In fact, I should have connected the Notion MCP for it. Let me just do that now. Notion is already connected and enabled. See how fast it could identify that if you don't have a programming background, because I can imagine these terms MCP, OAuth, this can be very confusing. But let's just see what output it has generated. So this is a step-by-step process, right? So what it's saying is that export from Notion. It takes 2 minutes. Go to inbox management, choose the markdown and CSV files, include subpages. This gives you all the text content in clean files instantly. Collect the Loom links from the export by scanning the page. Copy all the Loom videos URL and paste them here. I'll extract the transcripts for each one programmatically. Download images from Notion export. Images come as attachment. Upload the folder, zip here, and I'll organize and label them. I build the organized project folder. Once I have the raw content, I'll structure everything into a clean knowledge base inside your project folder. So paste the Loom video URLs directly from the Notion page into the the zip files here. Yeah, this is one of the bits that I need to do, but I'll do it later on. So let me start with extracting the Notion page. So I'll go to export, markdown and CSV, export, include subpages, export. It takes a while. So once the export is done, we have the folder here. What we can do, we need to first see if zip file is there or not. Yes, here is zip file. I can just attach it, and I also need to paste all the Loom videos directly on the So this is an either-or option. I have uploaded zip files in here. Can you just go through all the zip files and create all the files needed? Make sure that you download the images also yourself and organize them in the right location along with the files. Also, make sure that all the Loom video URLs are extracted. Do not miss anything, and after extracting them, organize them into different folders inside the main project folder. It's already creating a claude.md file. Typically, claude.md is the brain of any project or any skill. I'm going to talk about this on another video and how it works, but whatever task that it does, this is organized into the claude.md file. It's actually using that to read everything and organize them into one place. 3 videos we can also, and as you can see is that it has opened a new tab group and it is working in that tab group. While it does that, we can also verify whether we need to do allow for all websites. While it does that, we can also open and verify if it has the right number of videos. Keep in doc, so that as we go to this page, we can already see if all the Loom videos are there. So there is one Loom video here, one Loom video here, and third Loom video is here. So it has rightly found all the Loom videos. Let me also double check if it hasn't missed any Loom videos in the sub pages. So this one has no Loom videos, so it's just good. Let's go to the others. This also does not. What I'm trying to do is double check if Claude hasn't missed anything. This will really show us how capable Claude is in actually extracting and organizing these documents, right? So let me just go through them one by one. You see, this one has images and it is not Loom videos. So we are still at 3, as you can see. There is a video guide here, but it's empty. I sometimes also find this a bit difficult. Why this always gets closed? Generally does not happen. Should not happen, but let me open Chrome once more because it automatically appears to me. So if I restore pages, the agent will start finding it again. It's all my pages. Let me remove some of them just to make it light for the tool. Also here, let me remove some of them. This will interrupt the flow of Claude. If it captured the right number of Loom videos, yes or no. So here's my full SOP. Here's my inbox management. I open it up full. Here's my full SOP. Here's my inbox management. And let me go back to the point where we were searching for Loom videos. So this one, these are all pictures. There is a page inside this. Pretty sure it does not have anything. Pictures. Yeah, no video guide here. Let me go back to the other page. So delegating inbox manager training, no video guide either. Next one, EOD reporting, no video guide in here as well. Maybe, yeah, there is one video guide here. So apparently it has missed one, right? So let me just go here, copy the link of this video and tell it that it has missed it. You have missed one video guide. It is the one in the internal EOD reporting page. I'm sharing with you the link of that video. Also extract the transcript of that video and organize it into your project folder, and then upqueue it. Make sure that if needed, Opus 4.6 can be opened. This is a bit more expensive, but it's useful for handling large SOPs like this. Okay, let me have a quick look at the end. If I'm missing anything, I don't think so. So yeah, that's all. So let me see what we have. Seems like all the ones are there. The EOD reporting, yeah, there it is, the EOD reporting. 6 resources structure, including a master index. One thing still needed from you, the Loom transcripts. Loom is network blocked in this, so I can auto extract each of them. Each transcript file has an exact URL, step by step. To add them, open each Loom URL in your browser and click the transcript tab, copy and paste that into the matching file. All 4 files are ready and waiting for the content. What I can do, I can just ask Claude, can you share me the links to the transcript so that I can copy and paste them one by one? And if I paste these transcripts on the chat box, can you copy them into the relevant matching files? So you see, I'm letting Claude do its own work. There's 3 videos. I thought there were 4 videos. One of them, the 4th one, was the internal EOD reporting Loom. Were you already able to extract its transcript, or do you still need me to do that? So it will search for that. Use it. So apparently it cannot find the EOD reporting Loom video. Let me just share it here in case it did not found it. So it's asking to allow to permanently delete. But before it does that, let me just paste the transcript. Here's the transcript, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the Notion as well. The video is there on that page. I'm sharing that video link and also the link of the page that I'm referring to. Take a look. But it's also taking the hyperlink action with it, so I'm just going to put it on a new line, and I'm going up, and I'm also going to paste the page. The Loom video is there on that page. It's called Inbox Management Internal EOD Reporting. I've also shared the page. Take a look and make sure that its content is also there. While you do that, I'm going to extract the transcripts of the other 3 Loom videos, and I'm also going to let it delete stuff. It says that the Notion Fetch didn't render the embedded video. So what we need to do is to verify that at the end of this entire process, whether any embedded content or any kind of content are not rendered during the Notion Fetch. So this is a verification that needs to be done, and I'm going to already tell it. After you finish creating all the SOPs, finishing the project folder, I need you to double verify from the Notion link to see that any rendering of any video, any content, or any sort of media has not been missed during the Notion Fetch, so that it's already there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each of these links and copy this for Claude. I'm going to go to transcript, copy the transcript, integrating Inbox Manager AI with, okay. So let me paste it here. This one is video 1, Inbox Manager AI So this is the first video. Let me see if I can. Yeah, you can also underline this. Pretty cool, right? You can do so much stuff on the prompts. Number 2 is lead management, identify and label responses. This as well. Paste it. And number 3, handling wrong person leads. I'm gonna copy this one as well and paste this. Transcript, copy this as well and paste this. Right? And at the beginning I'm going to say, here are the 3 Loom videos that you asked for. Make sure that they are embedded, they're copied and plugged in the right matching files, and everything is organized accordingly. Just go here, copy that one as well, go to transcript, GHL cookie grabbing tutorial. To be honest, this is not really required. Not too relevant for our case, to be honest. Here is the 4th video as well. I think everything's queued, so we'll let it run as it can, and we see how far it goes. Get generated in the project section. If you go to the inbox management project on chats, you can just verify how much it is there developed. You can also check this on your folder as well. So I'm just going to go to Finder and find back my folder from documents. So if I go to projects, inbox management, you see all these documents, resources and links are being templatized. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to also create a instruction prompt and train it to actually work on these, and that instruction prompt is going to go here. So this is a typical example of how you can create projects from Claude Cowork. So it's not necessary that you should always have it on Claude Chat. On Claude Cowork you can also do the same thing, and the best thing for doing it in Cowork as compared to Chat is that it is switchable. So if you want to, let's say, convert this inbox management into a skill from a project, you can do a one-to-one switch, because you can create one skill for each of these folders and you can save it, for example, in your code base. In my case, for example, it could be anti-gravity, where I store my entire Claude code base in a skills folder. So this is, for example, a folder I have for Amazon shopping, for cold email campaigns. Amazon shopping is something that a hobby project I pick up from Nick Sarayev, where he was actually kind of scraping through all different Amazon products and trying to find out the right time and in which he could get discounts from those products, and let a Claude skill to actually access the shopping page and also make purchases based on the discount times. Right. So this is not so relevant, something of a hobby. Cold email campaigns, you can have skill. Content repurposer, you can have skill. Same way for inbox management, you can have a skill across the entire project base. That's why it's best to actually do it on Cowork as compared to Chat, because it can handle multiple folders in multiple different formats. Right. So let's see how far we are. It still is expecting a transcript, right? So let me just copy that and paste it again and send it to him. I think for some reason it just stopped working when I changed the page. Nothing left is pending. Okay, so now that you have created the entire project folder, what I want you to do is verify with the initial Notion link if you haven't missed any sort of rendering, like a video or an image or any sort of media that you might have missed and might still need to add. If you have to do that, reiterate that addition process and organize them into the right location, and then make sure that everything is complete end to end. So this is an important verification process that we need to do. But after that, what I'm going to tell it that now that I'm going to let it create its own instruction. So I can already create that prompt right now. If you have all the resources for this project, I want you to finally create an instruction prompt on how it should execute that project. I want that prompt to train this project like a sales engineer working who has worked in 6 and 7 figure companies selling B2B services or software platforms, and is extremely seasoned in high pressure sales, in short conversations, charismatic conversation, and attracting the client to especially come to a call. Typically, the leads we would be targeting are super cold leads, so we have to assume that they don't know us. So we need to be able to talk to them and gain their attention in a split second time, in the fewest words possible. And we also need to update our clients and motivate them to immediately come to a call. I want you to make sure that this project can work one-on-one with my team, whereby when my team receives any sort of responses or any sort of follow-up from a lead or a prospect, they can just copy and paste the response into the chat, and they can work with you to get the right kind of output. On top of giving the output, I also want you to give steps to them on what they should do next. So typically responding to the prospect in how much time frame, after responding, how to make communications with the client, and all the steps that are needed to do as described in the SOPs of the project folder. If you understand what I'm trying to instruct you, let me know, respond with yes. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me for input. Understand their mindset. So I need to mention that as well. Gain their attention the fewest time as possible. Qualify and nurture them in such a way that we don't need to sell them much on a sales call. Instruction prompt, so it has a few clarifying questions thing. So this is something that I do in practice in general. Before it makes these final system prompts, I ask it to give me questions or inputs that it needs, so that it does not miss any detail at the end.
Alright, so now I'm going to show you the output of this prompt. So typically, you see how detailed this instruction set has been prepared. I'm just going to walk through it, and of course I'm going to put this inside my resources section, which is linked at the bottom of this video, so that you can also use it, reproduce it, and use it for your own purpose, right? So first it gives a role. You are a senior B2B sales co-pilot, builds for my company's team, blah blah blah. You are able to think like a 6 or 7 figure B2B deal. So it's pretty basic in here, right? So its core mission is to actually identify, get an yes or no answer. So because it's inbox manager, its end goal is to book a call, right? So what happens after booking the call? So like after booking to close, we haven't added that, but if we do in future, we will have new resources for it, right? So this is basically from the top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel. From middle to close, there is going to be a different one, right? Everything in between, price, objections, fake responses, you steering conversation towards one of the two outcomes as much as possible. Super strict, super crisp. How the team uses you. So these are the things that the team can give. Output for every lead reply must contain 2 parts. Part A, reply, your next step. So a call to action, right? Then it prepares itself for the sales mindset. It gives it different types of replies. So what kind of specific replies that the prospects can give, So it covers everything. So not interested, soft no, evaluating, like what it sound like, send me more info, where we already use someone for this, right? So these are the different kind of responses we get. What I would also recommend you to do, and what I would do for our project as well, is give it more example of our own setup, right? So how our system is built. For example, if you have a presentation from your own VSL, or a presentation from your entire process, an explainer video that you use to qualify the prospect, train the Cowork this model, right? So it helps you to refine the responses based on the current offer that you are making, right? So, and you can also change that process every time you create a new offer, and this makes it much more specific, much more targeted towards your ideal prospects. So can you explain what you do? Tell me the process. We already use someone for this. Next steps for the team. Reply within 5 minutes, skeptical, interested, and then booking the call. So it's the next section. So it's already giving you different kind of conversation filters based on which they can understand what the mindset of the prospect is, right? Then it's giving us multiple objection handling scripts, blah blah blah. And then the TRAD system, which can flag the prospect based on what kind of response it is, whether it's green, yellow, which is sitting on a fence, needs a bit of a push, a soft push, and clear, not interested, remove me span. So this is an entire, it has got everything that is needed for an inbox manager to actually work, right? So what we will do is that we are going to copy this and we are going to put it on our project folder here. Now we have a prompt to do this. And not only this, we would also do it with our chat box. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to convert this Cowork into a chat, because maybe some of you do not give access to Claude Cowork to your entire team because it requires an offline access or an online hosting platform. If you are not able to do that, then they are relying on only chat. So how do you actually make sure that this entire folder is brought there, so that they can actually function properly, right? So that was it. This is how you typically build an instruction prompt, a project folder on your computer, and ask the instruction prompt to go through all the content of the project folder and give a proper reply. Now what this is going to do is that whenever you do some tasks, it will actually access the different kind of knowledge base that it has from its entire project folder, and it's going to give an output. In the next section, what we are going to do is that we are going to learn how to convert this Cowork output into code format so that we can build skills, and we can actually run those skills from any sort of platform like Anti-Gravity, VS Code, and we can generate responses. Alright, so now what we're going to do is that we are going to prepare a Claude Code skill and a claude.md file, like a markdown file, which we can operate from any point within our code base, be it of CLI, and we can execute all the inbox management related work that is going to happen for our SDR team. So one of the things that we need to keep in mind here is the fact that this is typically run on a CLI, so basically a terminal base. Now for people who are non-coders, a picture like this would look very, very frightening, which I understand. So that's why we started with the Cowork model, in which you can actually set up a Cowork in your working folder and you can run it from there. But now that it often works is that the Cowork is often of operations, not as operations lenient, because it contains a lot of files. So it's often useful to convert everything into a skill file and let Claude's model run through all the different operations. And this is way more flexible because it's just a few lines of code. By few, I'm talking anywhere between 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, but you don't have to write any of them. You can actually teach Claude, prompt Claude to actually build that. And once you have set that up, you can run it from any point in your database. And if you have teams, if you have a teams plan in Claude, you can also share it with your team.
But if you don't, if you are using Cowork, and if you're just a solopreneur, or if you don't have a team as enterprise and you're giving like your team's access to Claude access to your team, then you could still go to Cowork, or you can use a chat model. So having said that, let's just go into the Claude code structure. So basically I already have a CLI terminal open within my inbox management folder. So as you can see, these are all the inbox management resources that we created in the last part. Now, if this is something that looks very foreign to you and you don't fully understand how it works, I will create a separate video on Claude Code, which I would explain all of this in great detail. And once it's there, I'll link it under this video. But if you do need this, let me know in the comments. I'll try to expedite the process of creating that, right? But before jumping onto this, just to give a short summary, this is basically an anti-gravity code base, which I have actually done through an anti-gravity agent. I have installed Claude Code for VS Code. So it's typically similar to how VS Code works, but just is more friendly towards AI related operations. And this is Google's product. I have a Google's workspace, so I can just use it for free. That holds for anybody who actually does have a Google workspace for his team, which typically all kind of businesses, right? So now, as we move forward, I just want to have a quick summary on how actually the folder structure looks like, because I feel that it is very important to just brush through it. So I'm gonna just quickly show you this. So typically, any sort of Claude project structure has a nested structure like this, right? So if you have any sort of project, in our case, this is a Claude Inbox Manager project, but if you have something else, it could be something else. I have tons of these, which I will show you in due time. It often includes Claude.md. Now, Claude.md is basically the brain, right? This is basically the brain of our entire operations. So this will contain a list of all the skills, agents, any other folder, any other resources that we have. And this is the one this is the source point in which the entire ship will steer. Now, by sharing the ship, what I mean is that, let's say I'm traveling from, like, say, New York to, let's say, London, right? And I'm starting from a certain point A to point B in London, and I need to cross the ocean. Now, by steering the ship, what I mean is that I could actually direct in this way. I could also direct my ship in this way. And be 100% sure of is that I have a range of motion which I could do. So that range, if I start from here to here, this would typically end up in this big range, right? So anywhere that I land is going to be within this certain range. Now, what Claude.md does is actually, if you give the right instructions and the specific set of skills, this is going to shorten this certain range, which means that this is going to compress this range. So the more smaller this range is, the more certainty you have that you are going to reach at the right point, right? And then you know that if you want to reach in this point, for example, you are actually hitting it rather than here or here. So you have higher probability of getting to where you want to go. Here also we have a Claude.md which steers the ship, and we are going to create it from Claude or from Gemini or from any other project structure. Just for the sake of simplicity and completion, I'm going to use Claude to do this entire task, right? The next thing is that you get docs. Now, these docs is basically not super relevant to our case in here, but this is something that contains a full architecture. Let's say if you are building agents, if you are building Claude Cowork models, if you are building chat models, if you are building the skills, this one will contain all the architectures and all the decision-making stuff that you want to build. In our case, because we are just building a skill out of the documents we have, we are not going to really focus on this. Now, the third one is the most fun part. This is the .claude folder, where we are going to actually build the skill, right? So this one within our project, this this .claude folder is going to have the set of all the skills which we are going to build from our documentation. And this is basically, the skill is nothing but a markdown file which contains a set of instructions which you can rerun and reuse in different applications, and also you can update it based on your performance, right? It's not like a document or an image or a Loom video. This is highly flexible. This is super dynamic, and something can be updated at every run of your project, right? So this is the most important part, and this is what we're going to play with. Rest of the things not so important. Of course, if you're interested, just drop me a comment below and I can make a full video on how actually we can use Claude Code in different sort of applications, starting from skills to agents to workforce to any sort of, let's say, prompting based structure, right? So typically the process, what we are going to do here is following a progressive disclosure. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open my CLI, my code structure that I showed. I am going to go into the right folder, the Claude folder, where I want to create that skill, and I'm going to start prompting. I'm going to start saying requests. And this is how the workflow actually sequences itself. So it first starts from the amount of memory it needs to actually execute my instructions. So typically what Claude does, unlike Gemini or OpenAI, is that it, instead of following the amount of credits, it follows the number of tokens. So any sort of task requires a certain number of tokens, and it calculates for this task to be conducted by the Claude agent in its memory, how many tokens is going to be needed, right? So once it calculates the number of tokens, what I do, and I'm going to show you here when I make the request, I ask it to pause. I literally ask my agent to pause at this point, right? And here, and I ask them to calculate to understand which model it's going to use, right? So this can be, let's say Sonnet. This can be, let's say Opus, or any other model I want to use. I'm sorry for the handwriting. I'm just using my mouse, but I hope you understand what I mean, right? So once it decides on the right model, it becomes very easy for it to perform this task in a most efficient way, right? And the minimum amount of time and the maximum possible accuracy it can hit. The next step is basically the skill, which literally is the skill file, skill.md file. And when I trigger it, and which I'll do it inside the prompt, it will start creating that skill file. And while preparing that skill file, it's going to actually also use all the references, all the documents that we have created for, let's say, this project, this inbox manager project, and it's going to use it's going to run it on my, let's say, database. And after that skill is created, at this point I'm also going to create the brain of my project, which is basically the claude.md. So you need to be very careful on how you actually set this up, because Claude has a certain naming convention under which it actually nests the folder. So in this case, it is all caps claute.md, and once we actually make the skill, we need to either create a new claude.md, or we need to actually update an existing one with the skills that are needed. I have in my code base a claude.md which is trained with my business information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this inbox manager there. I'm going to load it, right? So for any single application which I use or my team use, it's going to be loaded when it is referenced. So how we are going to reference, like a backslash and then the name of the skill. So for example, here it could be inbox manager, and also and you don't need to put MD here. So as you put this name of the skill, it's fine. Now I'm going to also take a pause in here while developing this skill. I often tend to use a Claude skills library, which is called basically find skills. It's written like this, and this is actually derived from a skill library that I have, and I'm going to show this library to you. So typically this is how it looks like. So it's just nothing but skills.sh, which contains a list of all the different skills required for different agents, not only just Claude, OpenAI, Gemini, and Google kind of models that needs agents. It has a list of skills. As you can see, it actually has a build library of 91,650 skills. And what I often do is that I run this top one, which is actually a content structure of that skill. I run this command within my CLI. Also, again, no need to be super afraid of this. I can show you how to install it. You can just simply open that install window there. You can simply just open a CLI, and you can just copy and paste this skill. You can just copy and paste. That's the best way to install. Right. So when you go to the code base, here you just paste this in here, and if you run it, it's going to install the skill. I already have this skill installed, so I'm not going to do it now. But in case you need it, this is how it works. And of course, I'm going to link this in the video in the description down below for this video, and you can always install this once you are ready. Advantage of this is that even though we already have documentation on our inbox manager project, we might still need new skills which can span anything around SDR management, any inbox management, how to write messages. So what I do is, as a best practice, I ask it to look for skills that are needed to build this internal skill, this custom skill, or add more skills to it. That's why I use this library, and I often prompt Claude to actually use this. And the way I prompt is that what I just do, I just type, whenever using this data, whenever building these skills, always make sure to use /find skills skill to see if you need any additional component or any additional resources to build this. I just prompt it to do this. Now if I say this and I paste, you see it's there. It does not really write it, but when I put this hyphen, it finds the right skill. So this is how you can actually use any sort of skill that I was saying. You just put a hashtag and you put a name of the skill. Clear? Now let's just go into the actual building of this inbox manager skill. Alright, so now that we are ready to create this skill, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually make it directly inside this inbox management folder. So let's start with this prompt. So I'm going to hold down this little button right here, and I'm going to start speaking to it. I want you to create a skill for this inbox management project that I can work with my ops team to perform all inbox management and reply management related tasks. While making this skill, I want you to remember the following key points. Make sure to use all the markdown files that are within this project. Do not miss any details. Use the master index and the instruction prompts to figure out all the things that you need to do to create a workflow for this inbox management skill. Number 2, there are images and Loom video transcript in this project as well. I want you to carefully extract all the text from these images and the entire transcript and add this to your general skills that you will make so that you don't miss any content from those media as well. Number 3, do not miss any single detail in the project while making these skills. If needed, you're also free to make multiple skills to accommodate everything that is needed in here. If you need to use any other skills that can execute the task of making this entire skill sets, you can also use #find skill to find new skills in the skills library and execute them. Number 4, make sure to be very, very critical about the approach that you take in handling these inboxes on LinkedIn outreach, handling responses and feedbacks on clients. Take super attention in understanding the psychology of the clients or the leads while speaking with them, especially when our team members interact with our leads, right? And also the clients. This is very important for the growth of my company, as without a good inbox management, we would not be able to qualify our prospects and close too many deals. After you're done with building these skills, make sure to also create a claude.md file within this inbox management folder in your right folder management architecture so that every time we use the skill, that claude.md file is accessed. Now, before executing all of these tasks, I need you to get an estimate of the number of tokens that you require for this execution. Feel free to use the right model for this. It can be either Sonnet 4.6, Opus or Opus 4.6. If you find the right model, you can also let me know. I can use the model switcher at the bottom of your chat box to change the model manually as well. Right. And then, so as you can see, start exploring to understand the full scope. it's going to ask for a few stuff. So it's typically asking permission so that whether it can use everything here. So it's already, as you can see, it's already reading through everything, all the MD files. What I could have done while it makes all of these, I can also let you know, is I could have also made this inside my original Claude folder. Because as you can see in my original Claude folder, there are also some skills that I've created that I often use. I could also do this, but this is typically for offline use, and that's why I do not do this. But I could always copy these skills and add it to the claude.md to write. So this is often an option. I can show that trick after we make this, because we might need to change the location of it. Or there's a second option. We could also create an installation bash file, which I could run it through this chat box to install it directly within this Claude and organize in the right folders. Right, but yeah, let's first let it make the skill in here. Now, okay. Skill architecture plan. I'm going to be 2 skills, not 1, to keep them focused and usable. Inbox management, primary skill, triage, reply generation, objection handling, booking, lead qualification, wrong person handling, no shown protocol, client communication scenario. And you can also see that it's using multiple different tokens for each of the tasks that it needs to do. And it has already figured out that we are within Sonnet 4.6 characteristics. So what I'll just do is that I'll make sure that I'm in the Sonnet 4.6, which already is. So I'm not going to change anything, right? This is a very good practice. Feel free to always do this while you make big tasks like this. That's why I specifically chose this task for this video. Okay, so it's going to create these 2 skills, plus it's going to create a claude.md and a memory entry linking this project. Shall I proceed? Yes, please. Okay, so as you can see, it has already created the Claude folder, which I was showing in this in the architecture. It will often ask for permission on a bunch of stuff. So it might be the case that you might need to sit through actually seeing this, but yeah, it's building, so no, not a problem. Okay. So it's also going to run, as you can see, it's doing the make directory file. What I often do is that I also put different steps on doing this. So I could make a workflow out of this as well. So that whenever it creates that skill inside this folder, I could also ask it to copy it inside my original .claude settings, right, in my Claude.window, which I just showed a while back. So I could also run a parallel loop while running this, while this Claude runs. So let me make this a bit bigger, and I'll just create another Claude code, and I'll tell it, I need you to follow the skill creation and the claude.md file creation within this folder. Once they're created, I want you to also copy this skill within my original Claude window, right? So what I mean by my original Claude window is the following location. I'll put the location here, and make sure that you also add that skill in my skills library in my Claude directory, and also add that skill into my original claude.md folder, which is there inside that directory. The reason why it's a typical parent directory from which I can run different skills and agents offline within my CLI as well. So I'll just make some comments, make some changes in here, because it might not have taken everything in. What I also often do is that I create parallel windows like this, so that I can also follow the creation of all of these skills together. Again, if you have never seen this before, just do not worry, I'm going to make a separate video on how to use Claude for Claude coding, right? So what it does is that it is following, I'm asking it to follow this template. Once it's done building all of these folders, it will also show up in this folder work tree, and then after it's done, the second workflow will pick up, which is the rightmost part, and it will start copying all of those inside my parent Claude window. But okay, let's see, it's doing something. Build comprehensive inbox. It's already built a skill. So what I can do, I can just remove this little baby, and I'm going to make a separate window for this. Yeah, maybe a few multiple windows here and there, but still it's using everything, right? Here is my original work console. It's actually asking me for a certain access. I'll do it, and while it does that, I'll fix the prompt which is there on which they're going to copy everything in my original directory. Original.claude directory is the following location. Now let me put the location here. Yeah, so how do I put the location? I'm just going to go to Finder, I'm just going to find this back. And often what happens is that I'm just going to find the original location where my Claude is. So this is typically with my users folder, and this is where my Claude window is located. I'm just going to go to get info, and I will let it access this folder. So see users, and make this as parent directory so that it understands this is the parent, and this is not a window, this is original Claude directory. So it's just going to list the skill in my skill library as well. So also add this to my claude.empty folder. Be very careful with how you spell out this. As I said, it is basically in the database of Claude to read these folders in the exact case sensitive way they are. It's a bit nested and sometimes may look this, but yeah, I can agree that it might be a bit complicated for non-coders, but it is how it is. Let's see. Claude skills, it's really a big task. See, it has already set up a certain number of agents to do this task. It has made like a checklist, and it's building this, right? Also, as I mentioned, if you need any other skill to execute any specific task that is mentioned here, use the find skill library. Cool. I'm just also going to run them. I don't think I need a lot of different actions right now. Multiple windows are not needed. What I'll just do, I'm just going to close this baby. I'm just going to keep one window just so that I can handle it at the same time, right? It's just making new skill models here and there. Or what I could do, I could just run parallelly next to this. Close it here. Something did interrupt my tool. The tool seems to got interrupted. Please pick it up from where you left. If you need anything or any additional skill, you can find them in the find skills skill library. Allowing all the edits. As you can see, the claude.md has been created already. There is a settings.json file. This is a local file that needs to be created. But once it is done, it's going to save it in the right element. Two skills were built. Everything is in the client comps and skill. So let me see. Let me refresh this and see if it has been built or not. You could also access it from here. It's also saved to the project memory, so it's done. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to also run this window and make sure that it is copied everywhere there as well. But yeah, while it runs, let us see what we made in it. It's not showing up, but I'm not worried too much. I can just look into my finder. Yeah, so this is the claude.md, which is there. The skill.md doesn't seem to be there, but I think it's already copied. So if I go to that, my original parent directory, which is in here, which is typically in here, and .claude skills. Yeah, as you can see, the inbox management skill has also been created. The client com skill has also been created, and the claude.md, let's see whether it has been updated. The update of the claude.md should be there, but even if it's not updated, it can be operated by the claude.md that is created in here, right? So this is a very, very interesting case. You see, it actually created a claude.md and a Claude folder, and inside the Claude folder, it actually went through Claude code inside my original parent directory. You see, make directory inside the parent directory, which I was already talking about, and this global file is going to access that file locally, and it's going to run it. So this is what the settings.json does. And the claude.md is going to supervise that entire operation, because as you can see, it literally created that entire project structure. This is the function of this. And now if I have to create a new Claude window, and it says inbox management, right? You see, we have the inbox management skill here, and client comps. It also has client comp skill. So anything that is related to inbox management, I call the inbox management skill like this. Anything that is related to client comps, I create the client comp skill like this. So voila, this is how my entire inbox manager structure created. In the next part of this video, I'm going to show how we can actually run it over the actual interface of Claude, the cloud interface, and not within this local directory. This is a more simplified version of this entire scenario for those who are just starting with Claude. So not really relevant for people who are advanced, which I have already covered in the past two sections, but the last part of the section is really simplified. So
we'll use the Claude Code skill of inbox management to create necessary files for our project, right? So what do we mean by that is, well, in the last video I already showed you the claude.md file, right, which is the brain of this entire operation, currently having inside our repository, and it will call the skill. But now what happens is that many of our team members do not have desktop setup, or they really install this, and what they want to do is that they want to have a quick access to Claude through our pro version, and that can be your case as well. And if you are looking to avoid the really operations heavy, code heavy, texting heavy part of Claude, which takes a lot of time to build and set up, to be honest, what I would recommend is also creating a project like this from the Claude chat, right? This Claude chat is very simple. This is typically the most basic version that you also get on the online part, and you can simply create projects like this, right? So as you can see that I already have some projects that are set up which my team uses regularly, and what I'm specifically going to show you how to set up the inbox manager project. And the way I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Claude Code skill that I have already created to generate, right? And if you typically look into this project, we have already run a lot of project, a memory that my system already has, and it is already worked by yourself, right? You can create an instruction file, which also I have in here, which gives the step-by-step instruction of how it can take an input being a message from a prospect, a message from a prospect of a client, or some sort of a response. Maybe it's a no-show response, or something that they did a sales call and then their centers came to us back and told us that they don't want to continue with us, or let's say during the outreach process they have some questions or they have some objections. All you can handle from here, right? You have the instruction, you have the memory, and I have this set of files. These are basically training files that trains the project internally and makes it, let's say, take deliberate decisions based on these. We can generate this entire training stack from that skill. And how do I do that? I'm going to show you in a bit. So first I'm going to give this the address of the working folder where I have all my files that I want to train the project on, right? So I have typically this folder, which is in my documents, which is also a part of that inbox manager project, but I have already created a folder like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go here, get info, and I'm going to copy the path, which is inside documents. And if you see this path, it contains all the info about the inbox manager project, right? So what I'll do is that I'll go here, paste this path, and then also paste the name of the folder so that Claude can directly access it. What you could alternatively do is that you can also run the Claude code directly from this folder, but here I'm just going to show you how you can also do it flexibly from your original Claude code folder, and you can also access any other foreign or external folder at the same time and work with the resources of both of those folder directories, right? So I'll just copy this and I'll just paste the name. So this is my working folder. I have already a prompt that has been set up. First, create this inbox manager workflow, right? So let me copy this prompt first. Workflow for my Claude project. It's the spelling because I was typing it on Whisperflow. I want to have all the .md files required, or the markdown files, because that's the best version it will work with, for the inbox manager and client comms, which are there inside this working folder. And this is the working folder that I pasted. Here's what I want you to do. Create a directory called inbox manager workflow chat project. So that is the directory where all these items will be there, and put all those markdown files in a correct way so that I can just copy and paste them inside the Claude workflow, right? This thing is an issue here. And where do I copy and paste it? Literally in here. So these are the markdown files that I have already copied and pasted, but I'll make it from scratch. Number 2, go through all the images that is present and carefully read through them. Extract the text inside these images and extract them into a markdown file. Organize the markdown files right away. If needed, you can put everything into one markdown file, if needed. Most of the time it is not possible because there are Loom videos, there are a lot of different type of tutorials there. All I need to know is that the project has everything in its memory and can refer to all the examples present inside the images, and whenever it needs to make a decision about inbox management or some sort of response, right? Because we have also inputs in image forms which we want to convert in markdown format. Do not miss anything, as all these materials are required to train the inbox manager workflow. This is a very big prompt, so let me first copy this one and I'll go to the next steps. So I just copied this, and I'm gonna share all the instruction prompt with you guys with this under this video. So don't worry about it. No need to copy anything. And here I will call the working folder. So I just paste this in here. Very good. So point 1 and point 2 are done. Now let's go to the next points. Point 3. There are also multiple Loom video transcripts which are required for this inbox management and client comms. I want you to put all the relevant information from those transcripts into multiple markdown files, because I am converting all the resources, everything into markdown files, because then Claude can take minimum memory to run. Organize them in the right way so that I can copy and paste them inside the inbox manager and execute the project. Go through the 2 skills that you finally updated. So that is, in the last part of the video you already created 2 skills, inbox management and client comms. So I also want them to go through those 2 skills just in case they didn't miss anything, to make sure that all the additional info about our offers, case studies, inbox management are all taken into account. Make sure that these are all added to the project markdown files or the new markdown files that they create. Right now, so I also add these 2 points. Then we go to the next part of the prompt. Done. Now I'm giving it some constraints and some specific pointers to keep in mind. Please keep in mind that this project is run from Claude Chat and not from Claude Cowork or Claude Code. The best library documents or resources in this library should be markdown files. This is exactly what we have discussed so far. And now I copy this and I will let it run this. So it will create all these set of markdown files for us. And now the thing is that I already have this folder here, so I will not copy everything in the same folder. So I will ask it to make a inbox manager workflow chat project training, because this is basically a training video for everyone, and I'll just copy everything there just to make sure that you understand. So it's running right now. It's converting. So you see it's converting all the markdown files, it's reading through the Loom videos, it's preparing it. Now you see it's also reading through the Loom images and extracting. It has already read through the Loom. They are within us, and it's already reading through everything. You see the objection handling, plant comms, ops protocol, KPIs and pipeline, everything we have. You can I'll stop this video right now, because I can show you already a finished version of this. So the operation here is typically this one. The inbox management is the inbox management folder that we have already created. Inbox manager workflow chat project. This is the one that I was already creating before, and this has all those folders. Right now the thing is that once these folders are created, they're ready to be uploaded on Claude Project. What you can already do is you can go to projects, create a new project, name it, maybe I name it for my company name Gap Inbox Manager, create project. I can fill out the rest of the stuff later, but I can already start uploading all the files that are here. The best thing is that all of them are markdown files, so it will be very easy for it to read and execute. Right, so yeah, so everything that are created in here, it's going to create. You can just copy and paste it. I'm not doing it right now, it's a super easy task. And once it's created, we will run one more thing in here just to make sure everything is sorted, all the files in here. There is this part. This was part 1 and this is part 2 of the prompt. we have done building all the MD files. Let me know how I should add them inside that project. The thing is that sometimes you might not be doing this yourself, you might let your team do it. So you might need an instruction set on how to do that. After that, I want you to give an instruction flow which I can also copy and paste inside that project to refer to and use these files to give me the right kind of responses for my inbox manager and client comms tasks. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about this instruction set which is there in here. So this is basically a text version. This is like a guiding brain, the same as the Claude.md that we had for code. In here we have this instruction, execute the task that you are giving to them. So this is what I'm prompting it to do, right? So we copy and paste this. And then another constraint, don't miss anything. All of these are required to make the Claude Inbox Manager project directly within my team, my clients, so that we can close more deals. It's a very crucial aspect of my entire client acquisition. So I want you to get this right first time. Copy and paste and run. It will start running it. I will stop it right now. But if I show you which folder is this one, how to set up the project. And you see, and we also have the instructions somewhere, this one. So these are the two new folders it will create again, right? And then you can copy and paste them there. So there you go. You have the inbox manager workflow. Here it's very easy to set up. Once you have the folders, you can just copy, you can just press star, upload from device and copy and paste them. Instructions, you can just copy that entire instruction. You can open it here, copy this entire instruction and then paste it there, right? Super easy. So that's how you create this. I'll put all of these resources, the inbox manager instructions, the prompts that I use to create this in the file. All of these we have been using for all our clients. We have generated 10s, 20s, 50 calls in a matter of 2-3 months for each of our clients, and most of them are with enterprise brands and mid-scale startups. So we know that this works. If you find value from this entire video, feel free to copy all these resources and use it for free, and let me know if that worked for you as well.
So that's the full system. You just went from a messy pile of SOPs to a complete end-to-end AI inbox manager that reads the prospect's reply, classifies them whether they're green, yellow, or red, handles their objections, and steers them towards booking a call. And it is run in 3 ways: Claude Cowork, Claude Code CLI, or a simple Claude project, as I showed you in the last part of the video. This completely end-to-end can be run by your team in real time. It is what we run live on our campaigns and inside our company. It has booked calls with brands that are worth 100 million plus in annual recurring revenue, like Tata, Blue Mercury, in as little as 3 weeks of starting the campaign. So here's the next step. The whole resource pack is free. It's completely inside the description, the skill set, the instruction set, and the prompts that build the skill. You can grab it, plug it in your own offer and your own infrastructure, and run along with it. And as you run it continuously, it gets sharper with every single campaigns. And after running it, let me know how it worked. If this indeed saved you from hiring at least one SDR, do tell me in the comments. And if you want the follow-up, how to take the call, book it in, and take the client all the way to close, you can subscribe with me. I make more videos like this. Having said that, I'm going to see you in a minute.